Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our Kontext Coffee Chat. And I'm very, very excited because today we are taking you on a tour through an East Timor coffee plantation, or as they apparently say in East Timor, we're going into the coffee. I'm talking to Stewart and Kar Yee and Simao from Karst Organics. Hello, guys. And
Hello.
welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm really excited for you to show us around the coffee.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation, Katja. It's really appreciated. So we're currently here in Timor-Leste, and I don't know how much about East Timor your viewers or your listeners will know. So we're currently in Timor-Leste, the world's second youngest country. Gained independence for a second time in 2002. It's a very small country, a population of 1.3 million, and we are in a district called Ermera, which is equivalent of a UK county. The district's equivalent of a county, and we're in a place called Leti Foho, currently at 1,800 meters above sea level. Now, I don't really want to talk too much about Karst and our company today because it's really all about our colleague here, Mount Simao. I'm really excited to introduce him to you. Mount Simao, we've been working with him for 4 years now. He's crucial to connecting us to the community up here. So I just wonder if it'd be okay first, Katja, if you would be able to give a little introduction to him. So here he is. This is Mount Simao. This is the man of the day.
Good morning. Good morning. So nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Katja. I am the founder of Kontext Coffee Company, and we're a small coffee roastery on the border between England and Wales in the United Kingdom. So nice to meet you.
Mana hetete, chefe of company se sona cafe. Company kik, maybe sira hanoin konaba qualidade dit. Ni hetete, contente hasru malu.
Sim. Amigos para café o quantidade aqui, cacaracos café tem que qualidade as.
See, Mound said that his main focus is also on preparing specialty coffee and focusing on quality. Katja, when I use the phrase Mound here is a general term. It literally translates as brother. So if you hear Kar Yee or I say that a lot, then that's why. It just means like brother. It's a generic greeting. Mount Simao, bele for introduction konaba ita nomos agora. Ami hela quali nega, maybe ita serviço a café fatin hira. Agora bele hara tenia familia nomos. Introduction kikdet.
Sering how nenara no hen mong hatete ona. How nenara Simao Pedro Deus. How serviço homon how tining reunida. Reunrua sanul resensia to agora.
Okay, so we've been working with Mount Simao since 2019, and Simao's been working in coffee for quite some time, so he knows the industry very, very well. Maybe explica itu ande kena ba itania familia nomos?
Sim, how your familia simples no familia bagain la ricoliu or la kiakliu maybe fast.
Mount Simao's been very humble. He said he's got a simple family. He's actually got a wonderful wife who's just over here. She's farming at the moment. She's preparing some food, and he also has 4 wonderful children, of which we can see one hiding behind mum there.
Yes.
In addition to Simao's wife being an incredibly hard-working woman out here, she's also a police officer. So she's juggling two jobs as well. So what I think we'll do, Katja, with introductions out the way there, I can see Kar Yee is just trying to shoo away a very noisy cockerel. I'm going to chase the cockerel away. Manakai, can we go into the coffee with Simao and maybe start the little tour? Is that okay with you if we go into the coffee?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just going to try.
I'm going to
try. I'm chasing this cockerel away here. That's what I'm going to do.
Hi, Katja.
Hi, Kar Yee.
Okay, so I'm just gonna. I guess we can follow Simao into his coffee, and then he will get the chicken, basically. I think the chicken wants to make an appearance too. But yeah, we can follow Simao into his coffee, and he can kind of show you around and explain about how he has rehabilitated and worked on his coffee to make sure that he can get good quality coffee out of the trees. Okay, so just 1 minute. Okay, and han ita bele hatudu ita near cafe near daran ami tue ita so ita bele. I'm just gonna turn the camera around if I can. Oh no, not like that. Hold on 1 second. If I can, yes, there you go. Okay, and han ita bele hatudu ita near cafe hunna. Sim.
Amin ya kafe, tapi kami prepara makannya husi kafe ini hun. Depois o cinema kami prosesso bahasa na qualidade pode para companhia Inglaterra.
Okay, so you can see here some of his coffee trees. So from these trees, they focus purely on making sure that they can process good quality coffee in order to be able to export it to the into the specialty market, into the UK and into Europe, for example.
Café tu tem que dia na qualidade as ba mercado, ami tem que prepara hanesan agora yan.
Okay. So in order to make sure that they can process quality coffee, they take a lot of care with their trees and make sure that they maintain them regularly throughout the year, every year.
Nema café tu nebe ami prepara iha tos penarang café.
So this is it's mainly coffee, but they have other crops planted which are all kind of integrated into the field, but we can talk about that a little bit later.
Mom, fatini ane hectare ida or hectare balu or lato? Sim. So itahan. Okay.
So Mount Simao, he actually has several small coffee plantation plots dotted around the area. So this plot in particular is maybe quite a small plot, only around 400, 500 meters, square meters. So you can see he and now cafe hunne ita kuda. Ita tinen hera agora tinen hera cafe hunne.
Cafe hunne agora ihane ami kuda batinen Simao agora.
Okay, so these trees you can see here, they were planted 5 years ago. And how tinen ita pare ita hello maintain sound, see? And how tinen ita bele hetan quantidade aumenta.
Sí, tinen quantidade centralmente sama café pom.
See. So every year they will continue to do maintenance, whether that involves stumping the trees or pruning, to ensure that year on year the yield that they can collect, the cherries they can collect from all of the trees continues to increase, and they can maintain that production.
Okay, can we just press pause there and let's give Kacho, just give you an opportunity to take that in and to ask any questions to the chicken. ask any questions about what Simao just spoke about there. So is there anything that you would like to follow up with there, just in terms of what Simao was talking about?
How long have you been growing coffee, Simao? When did you start growing coffee?
Ita comienza kuda no ku café tienen hira Iloka. Komensa tinin hiraga.
How?
Ah.
How kikuan how si sekolah SD how começa para na por café. Si tosin que agora café tuan no agora começa a reabilitação.
So he started working with coffee when he was still at school, working together with his family, and just learning about coffee, how to maintain it and how to process it from a very young age. And he's just continued with that now that he has his own coffee plantations.
Mm-hmm. And do you only grow specialty grade coffee, or does some of your coffee also go into the commercial coffee market?
Saya ni husu karek ita fokus pa spesialidade, kualidade ka o ita mos prosesu kafe bele famba mercado comercial ka.
How tinan aku husi tinan rehun tuasan ultrasensia how focus on about kualidade café.
So since 2019, his focus has been just on processing specialty grade coffee.
And I can see other crops. Oh, sorry. Go.
Because I guess from 2019 is when he was being supported by international companies like Karst Organics, looking to improve the quality of the coffee that is processed out of Timor-Leste and being able to open up more markets for Timorese coffee.
Yeah.
If I can just elaborate on, I think the coffee tree health here, Katja. If you can just pop that. You can always edit these bits out, can't you? I think one of the things that's, well, from our observations since being here in 2000 or starting the company in 2018 is trying to find the motivation for farmers to rehabilitate their plants. In 1975, when Portugal gave back Timor to East Timorese and it became independent, 9 days after Indonesia came and annexed Timor-Leste, then a lot of coffee farmers came into the coffee forest to fight against the Indonesians. And in fact, Simao, he's a veteran. He fought against the Indonesians so that they could regain independence, which they did in 2002. But during that time, from 1975 to 2002, until they gained independence, there goes the chicken. A lot of coffee was unkept. Indonesians, they continued to buy the coffee, but it was going over the border in Indonesia for commercial purposes. And in that time, there was no rehabilitation. So now really Simao and people like Simao are at the forefront of implementing rehabilitation training so that they can maximize their yields and also just improve the general coffee tree health here. I'll just translate that. Qual con ba rehabilitation agora and difficile tuan tamba coco for motivation ba tosnain and tansile bele hale motivation difficile maybe tamba ita for example diak sile bele tue it an example no commence troca sile mi hano ita bele hakra kole tuan con ba rehabilitation and tamba sa Timor-Leste precisa halo.
Okay. So hanoin agora oportunidade ami tem que halo rehabilitação sa kualidade café. Tamba husi café ne beka ami kura ia tem hunaru que agora começa laiona quantidade na mosnya qualidade. Então precisa ami tem que halo rehabilitação. Começa agora baui.
Yeah. I think that for a long time people thought about just volume. Let's harvest quickly, let's sell quickly, and there wasn't any thinking towards quality coffee. But now, as we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years, Timor-Leste is becoming an origin that can produce specialty coffee. There's more of a focus on coffee tree health, increasing volume, and also quality. Okay, I'm going to take the camera back so
All right.
that maybe Kar Yee, do you want to maybe just ask Simao about, I think or just explain about the coffee shade trees, because I think that's quite unique.
Qualia Twan Konaba Cafe, well, I some tuku I kakeu no for Mahamba Cafe.
Saya ni hane ami usai ay kakil bela ko mahong bakafe. Mas labe na meeting din 20 natong dodo par siramos bela he kate bela he tananing mas lorong par kafe ni produsang bela.
So the coffee in Timor-Leste is all shade grown. So the shade trees are very important in terms of being able to to grow good quality coffee. So you can see here they are called in Timor, in Teton, they're called I Kakeu. I haven't quite figured out in English what that is called. But you can see that there are several of these shade trees throughout the plantation, and these are very important for giving shade to the ventilation throughout the trees themselves to be able to produce good quality cherries.
You were breaking up there for a second. Maybe if you could explain a little bit about, because obviously shade grown coffee, that's a term that is used within the industry, and some of our listeners and viewers might have heard or read it somewhere. But what actual function do these trees have for the coffee plants? Why does the shade matter? What happens because of the shade?
Okay. And then Nia Husu pregunta, ay kakeu importante tamba belefo mahon ba kafe hunsin. And then mahon importante ba kafe hun tambasa.
Importante ba kafe hun tamba ne vele salva kafe ya tempo bailorong no husineta bela ko adu especially by kafe.
Okay. So the coffee in Timor-Leste is shade grown in which means that the coffee trees are interspersed with these shade trees called Aikakeu in Teton. So they provide shade throughout the day to the coffee trees to enable the trees to receive enough sunlight to be able to go through the process of photosynthesis, so they can harvest the right nutrients and absorb the right nutrients that they need from the ground and from the sunshine to be able to produce good quality cherries. But these trees in particular are very important for the coffee in that not only they are providing the shade, but also the leaves from the trees, when they drop and fall on the ground, that also provides an additional source of organic fertilizer, I guess, for the coffee trees to be able to regenerate and use that as nutrients to be able to grow good quality cherries.
So it's about the shade itself. So the trees aren't exposed to too much heat throughout the day, I imagine, on the one hand, but it's also for soil quality.
Yeah. So of course the sun is very strong here, and so the shade is very important in order to be able to protect the trees from being I guess almost sunburnt throughout. Well, so that's very important that the trees do have some shade at certain intervals throughout the day, so that they're not scorched by the rays of the sun, because The sun here during the day, in the middle of the day, can be very, very intense.
There hasn't, I'll just cut in here, there's not a lot of research been done on coffee in Timor yet, and I think that there will be going forward, particularly on the use of the 2 types of shade tree that they have there. I mean, many other farmers would answer the question and say that giving the shade, you have a longer maturation process, which gives more sugar into the cherry. I could say that, but there hasn't been any official research done to back that up. So I'm loath to say that. But what we can confidently say is that the Aikakale, which this tree here, is a great source of nutrients, particularly nitrogen to the coffee trees, which is why that shade is so important.
And have I seen banana trees in between the coffee trees as well?
Maybe Simao can show you a little bit of the other crops that he plants within the coffee forest as another source of income, but for food, as a food source for him and his family. So Bele hatudu ba mana iminia I horis seluk ita kuda iha kafe laranga.
Listen, Huri. Mana sedikit. Sing ne maghuri. Huri mo saneseng faktor importante adalah judamos pemaham makafe.
So they, as you saw, they have banana trees interspersed within the coffee plantation. These are also good for providing shade to the coffee trees as well as a delicious food source.
Yeah, green tea.
Can you see this okay, Katja? I'm not a very good cameraman here, so do directly if you can see.
It's all right. Thank you.
Aubergine.
All right. Yeah.
With no aubergines on it at the moment. I think we ate them last week.
Here as well is in Teton they call talas, which is yam.
Yeah.
We have got telu argila. Agora boron mat começa mate,
They have beans too.
Mm-hmm.
Green beans. Ne ai farina mosi hada.
Farina.
So this one, cassava.
Oh yeah.
So not only do they eat the cassava roots, I guess, the tuber, but they also eat the leaves as well on the top.
Yeah.
They're very delicious.
Yeah, tall plants. Again, a bit shade, I would imagine, no? A bit of shade.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, these the Ifarina grows incredibly tall. Yeah. And I think another point to well, there's 2 things really which I think are key here, and that is, sorry, I'll turn the camera on. I think the first is that we looked into getting organic certification when we first started the company, and at that point we hadn't really realized or appreciated that when Simao and his family and other farmers in Letifo who go into the coffee, it's not just to pick coffee, it's to get their food, it's to get this food source, which requires careful management, and certainly the idea of putting any chemical fertilizer on any of the plants here, it's unfathomable for them. So everything here is organic by default at the moment. How that goes in the future with regards to the country's development, I can't possibly say, but at the moment it's all organic by default, which is probably quite a nice question to put to Simao right now.
Yeah.
Maon, ele explica ituan konoba adubu and tambasa Timor-Leste nia café hotu organiku. Timor-Leste haurona información Timor-Leste sedau usa adubu ho chemiku. Los kalai.
Sim, los. Amihoto East Timor, agora lá usa na adubo orgânico, areia no que tempo Indonésia, sirah norimbam, maybe amihoto tu kahu usa na orgânico. Então café hoto tem orgânico. Kahu agora bawin. Usi ulu kahu bawin tem cancer, tabela usa orgânico. Tabela usa química, tem orgânico.
Sim.
Yeah, so I guess because they are, I guess the culture in Timor, they're very much about nature, and they consider the land as part of their livelihood, their home, and it's where they get their own food from. So they don't want to use any sort of chemical fertilizers, and they only use natural organic fertilizers. And then it's a saída para halo adubo organic juga.
Adubo orgânico agora simples, agora a usa na área captura. Esse café não vem a medulas.
So in terms of organic fertilizer, what they use the skin of the cherry after they've pulped the cherry. They will use that to provide nutrients, additional nutrients to the coffee trees. No, Selukan?
Selukan ami kahur hodut no aitahan ami halo adu.
Okay, so they also will mix with compost that they can produce themselves from just clearing the land from the weeds and any shrubs that they use to create compost. They will mix it together. No more. So those and then also they will use manure, like chicken manure or cow manure as well, which also adds a lot of nutrients into the soil, which will enable the trees to grow and produce good quality cherries. So last year already, from like this tree, you can see they used natural organic fertilizers mixed with the cherry skin, the kind of natural compost that they made, and also with around 3 kilos of chicken poop.
All right. And
would you like Katja?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Simao, has it always been that way then? Have you always only used the compost that you make yourself to add nutrients to your plants and to your soil? Because you, Stewart, you said it's grown organically by default in all of Timor, East Timor, essentially. That is the traditional way of growing coffee, and it's not something that you guys had to introduce. Is that right?
We definitely didn't do that. As much as we'd love to lay claim to that, we didn't. But I mean, Simao can answer the question.
Wine here it's a commencer pura café. It's sempre usa adubo organic did.
Okay.
Yes, always. That's been the way that they've grown their coffee and how they've added additional fertilizer nutrients. They've always used the natural organic fertilizer that they will just produce by themselves.
I think
they're real experts in organic farming then.
And it's a Hanesan Tosnaim professional.
Professional. Because I professional.
Not exactly professional, but you know, he's getting there maybe.
He looks like an expert too from where I'm sitting.
It's a Hanoi professional. He is trying to set a good example to the other farmers within the community so that they can follow his lead. The example that he sets and how good his quality of his coffee quality is, so that they can see that and they will also follow the same system.
Yeah, and I think
yeah, los member Tapi agora dadau kamu sana-sana membro pang kape Inglaterra.
Yeah. Especially to make sure that all of the farmers who provide us with the delicious coffees that we export to the UK, then yeah.
Thank you
Trying to
very
make
much.
sure get quality, we can
It's amazing.
continue to you Katja with some delicious coffees from Timor Leste.
He should be a salesman.
Yeah.
So because their focus is very much on processing specialty grade coffee, they are also now very focused on making sure that they rehabilitate their coffee trees successfully.
Yeah.
I think the thing you can see here, this, I don't know if you can pick this up on your camera, but this tree here is just about to come into flower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
I
can
see.
see that.
Yeah.
But it's this is a nice indication for what we can expect, or Simao can expect to harvest next year. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, so parabéns para Itamar.
Simao, where are you in the harvest, in the in the annual rhythm of the coffee plants, in the harvest process? Where are you at this moment?
Café começa funanona, and depois funan precisa rein tempo hira ou fulan hira bele começa cruga.
So fulan Mayu, hela fulan Itaewar.
Sorry, starting to speak Tekken. So now you can see the trees are starting to flower. So once they have flower, there will be maybe a 6 to 7 month period where they will then be able to start picking the cherries. So come May next year, we should be back into the coffee harvest again.
Okay. Do they get one harvest or more than one harvest?
So Simon has already invited you for another video call. So next year during the harvest, when the cherries are all ready and ripe to be picked, he's ready for another call for you.
Love it. Yes, please. Thank you.
Maon, mana kacha husu pergunta ni husu Timor Leste ou durante tempo ku café ita precisa ku dalahira.
Ela rua otolo.
Sim.
Depende café ni quantidade e a produção.
Bele explica maybe Ituan Liu konaba. So iha tempo ku café ira det. So nisian suluk sila iha tempo ku café rua. Maybe Timor Leste iha tempo ku café ira, but precisa ku dalatolu. Bele explica Liu konaba yeah, tempo ku café. Here in Ituan man ha bele explica ba mana Katja. Katja, I was just rephrasing your question that you asked about how many harvests there are. So I just put that forward to Simao. Billy?
Se liga para qualidade, então ainda tem que o primeiro tem que ir na taça, o primeiro. Depois se taça que na beita cuita e na vai se cair sala e dia, porque tá lugar com sala e dia na vai, tá precisa ita seleção na reita processo. Então precisa café tem que badala tudo para levar na mapa com mais barato.
So in Timor, there is just one harvest during the year for the coffee. But during that harvest, in order to make sure that they are picking only the best quality cherries, they will need to harvest maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the harvest period to ensure that they are only picking the ripest cherries and the cherries of the highest quality.
All right, so they go back to the tree and always pick the red cherries and leave the green cherries.
Yes. Yeah. I think Simao's just added a bit more info there.
He said, "Or ensure that they can harvest the cherries and pick the cherries carefully and be selective in the cherries that they are picking. It's good to ensure the trees are of a manageable height."
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can see he maintains the height of the trees here so that even me, who's quite short, can pick from the top.
Yeah. All right. Is that part of because you spoke about rehabilitation earlier? Is that what you mean when you speak about rehabilitation? Because in the beginning, did you say these trees that we're seeing, they are about 5 years old?
Enhania husu konaba itania rehabilitação atividade. Isso é halo saída.
Rehabilitação, ami tem que cada café, no hasai café atu tu exemplo hane sanagora hane.
So normally for rehabilitation, in terms of the kind of activities they will do, is if they see a tree which is quite old or quite tall, maybe they need to then stump it. So like the tree. Okay, so you can see they will try to maintain the tree itself and ensure that the nutrients are directed to two stems only. So he has already here kind of cut away.
I'm just going to
one of
move,
the stems.
Kar Yee. I'm just going to move because I don't think Katja can see that very well. Try that again.
Yeah, we could see. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So the focus by stumping it here and then also removing like the suckers, as they call it, you can then focus and make sure that the nutrients the tree is absorbing from the ground is focused into two main stems, so that these stems can then grow strong and produce larger quantities of cherry.
Mhm. And how old is this particular tree?
Quasi.
Quasi.
Yeah. It's also 5 years old, Katja.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he also has planted new seedlings to kind of ensure that when he removes an older tree or stumps an older tree, he can replace that with a new seedling. So there are some new seedlings here, which are maybe 1 or 2 years old.
I think here's another example, slightly younger tree as well.
Yeah. And Mount Simao, do you plant different varieties of coffee?
It's near cafe near variedade.
Hybrid de Timor dit or you have Café Hun Seluk? Okay.
So it's like I guess I think it's mainly Hybrido de Timor kind of typica variety that you will find in Timor-Leste.
All right. And one other thing I was thinking about when you were talking about the organic manure and the fertilizers you use, that's for nutrients, but I'm sure there must be pests that threaten the trees as well. How do you manage pests and diseases without chemicals then?
Okay, so near Husu, iha cafe mos iha ula ka iha mora. Kan ite bele halo saida bele potato ba isi ula han ka moras hanisan polisek man hikate.
Kami durante sidaw kaya hetong formação nila hanesan harsik pin da prende ko saile. Bawin na may kokoralo for labil na musim moras.
So the the Timor hybrid variety is kind of a natural hybrid that occurred between kind of Robusta and Arabica. So that in itself has a resistance to diseases like coffee rust. So there is that sort of benefit to the natural hybrid. There are also other measures that they can use to prevent things like coffee borer beetle. He hasn't installed any sort of system here as of yet in this particular plantation, but there are different methods that they can use to try and create simple traps that will attract the borer beetle to the trap instead of going to the coffee trees itself.
Okay. I think just to elaborate on that, the borer beetle that can be a problem here. And this year in particular, again, there's been no research done that can provide official data. I think there will be going forward. There needs to be, but it seems that the borer beetle, based on farmer information, particularly coming from this year, thrives 1,400 meters below sea level, and with 1,400 meters above sea level, and also with a different form of shade tree, which we don't have here. So yeah, there are pests here, but it would seem to be at the higher altitude, the borer beetle doesn't survive so well. But again, we don't have the data to back that up.
Yeah. Okay. I was talking to one of my coffee producers from Brazil last week, and they have the coffee borer beetle in their area as well. And he said, because he's also farming organically, similar, I think, probably to Simao's setup. And he said he also has fruit trees like guava and other fruits in the plantation. And some of the fruit trees attract pests that would otherwise go into the coffee. Okay. I thought that was an interesting approach. Might be something to think about.
Niamos quali hamuto kotos ni ha Brazil. Nia tos karekanisa nia tos. Timor no nia kuda cafe organiku. Hani sira iha most problema ho ila. And hania nenia experiencia sira most kuda I horisalo or I selokan bele han ula ba I la ba cafe. Han maybe I horis or I hanisan guavas. Guavas, the boys. He also has guava. And han sera hatete karek kuda guava hamutuk ho cafe ula ba guava sera la ba cafe. Okay, thank you for this information. He didn't know that, but obviously he doesn't have such a big problem with the borer beetle here in particular. Maybe that's because he's got a guava tree as well.
I'm not sure it was particularly for the coffee borer beetle. I mean, they are very specialized in what they do, these little buggers, aren't they? But I thought that was an interesting idea. But I think he also said that he isn't harvesting the fruit. He leaves the fruit specifically to attract more wildlife and have more diversity on the plantation as well.
Just out of interest, Katja, what altitude was he at? Do you know?
I would have to double check. I don't think it's 1,400. It's lower than that, but I would have to double check. Yeah.
Interesting, but from a personal perspective, comparing, if I use mosquitoes as an example, or cockroaches, if you're based in Dili here, the capital city, they thrive in abundance. But because at this altitude, it's quite cold in the evening and certainly late afternoon. Again, many farmers, it's their belief, again, no data to back it up, that there are certain populations of pesticides that just find this climate quite difficult, pests quite difficult to deal with. So again, lots of research needs to be done here, and it's a really is a blank canvas going forward.
Mount Simao, I'm very grateful for the time that you've given us this afternoon in East Timor. I maybe one more question before we go. What would you say are the main challenges for growing coffee in Timor-Leste at the moment?
has nia kontentelos bele qualia hamatuk ho ita no bele konyase ita nia iha pugunta ikus ita hanoin tinane iha problema saida ba ku cafe.
Bami nia ku cafe hanoin lai program. Sami also consider pamana for calling cafe. Karek bami ko família ya Timor-Leste adolescente, no vale hadiah ini problema apa di universidade.
Então, itu lah Hanoi klimata difícil tinene ka.
Oh, ini depende Deus.
So this year in particular, there has definitely been an effect on the climate. So the result of climate change has meant that there's been quite a lot of rain this year. The rainy season has gone quite late into the harvest this year. But if we pray to God, then next year, hopefully things will be better and they can continue with processing their good quality coffee.
Great. How does the rain affect the harvest?
Good question.
Udan estraga cafe oinsaga. Karek udan mai makasa tinene udan mai makasa. Udan te ku cafe and hani tahanoyen udan sin oinsa estraga cafe o oinsa por dificuldade baita bele processi cafe qualidade dia.
Dan limata kinan liwa o difficulty itu. Tambah itu proses cafe lagi dia cafe barak tawai lagi dia sama hitam kulah forma extrae. Tambah extrae maksudnya qualidade. Reja bahui karek cafe la contestana di Santinan.
So as we said, this year the rain has been quite a major factor in making things a little bit difficult this year during the harvest. It's just meant that, of course, the additional rain has meant that maybe some of the cherries on the tree have been affected, so they haven't been able to harvest as much from the trees. And of course, during the drying of the coffee, it's made it quite difficult because, of course, the sun hasn't been around because of the rain, which has meant that the drying has taken a little bit longer. But as you said, if we continue to pray next year, hopefully the climate will be better again.
Okay.
I'll just add, this year was very challenging. We had to make stackable drying beds that can be placed under cover to help with ventilation for all of the groups that we work with. And I think that going forward, there will have to be, we'll have to look into potential polytunnels to help with drying. But this will take time, and also time to change thinking to want to do that. And we don't really want to tamper too much with their traditional ways, but equally we have to provide help if the climate does prove challenging, which it did this year. Hey, Katja, can I just introduce you to somebody's just come along? Mom, can you? I got a I mean, your colleague who's sitting there. Maybe we can just introduce. Can you show? You turn the camera on.
Hi.
Your colleague who's in Inglaterra. Mana niya
Nice
na
to
rin
meet
Katja?
Nice to meet you.
Nia.
Katja.
Tete contente hasurita. Niya na rin Katja. Bele for information ko na ba ita? Ito niya na rin?
Mariano.
Huh?
Mariano Deus.
This is Mariano. Mana Katja. I got a saida.
Serviço.
now he's going to work. He's got his machete. He's got his hoe. He's going to do some work.
All right.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Hi, Mariano.
Okay. Contente Hasidim. This year, Simao's become our first full-time employee, which we're delighted with. So when we go back to the UK, and I think we'll be back mid-October, hopefully, fingers crossed, with the shipping gods on our side, the container will arrive mid to late November, fingers crossed. There's a lot of work that needs to be done here with rehabilitation and reaching out to other groups who don't have the same forward thinking that Simao does. And now that he's in place, he can do that. He can outreach into the community and talk about the benefits of rehabilitation and good harvesting practices, which is what we're hoping to achieve here. We only work with 100 farmers, so we'll only export this year around 12 tons of coffee. So it's much easier to do this when you're a small company, and that's going to be a big focus going forward. So, any other questions, Katja, you'd like to? We've still got a bit of time if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really interesting just to see, how things are done and how nature works with you in Timor-Leste and in the Tefo, where you are to produce amazing coffee. I'm very impressed, and it's been really, really good to see. Thank you so much.
Contente los vele hare isini cafetos no vele conoce ita ni contente vele continue support cafe East Timor-Leste.
Ami husi bamana kare vele sosa cafe husi letepo barak tam para ami Arabica cafe husi letepo barak li ben mate.
Man said, yep, he's ready to supply you with lots and lots of coffee from Timor-Leste. So if you want to order lots, he'll be able to send you lots.
I can't wait. Please, I've tried your coffees before, and I've enjoyed them very much. So I can't wait for the coffee to arrive in the UK so I can finally start roasting it.
So near Coco Tiona, near Cafe, near Hanoi and Gostilos, and near Hey agora, I mean near Cafe Beleto, Inglaterra, depois near Bele Sosa, no Sona. Headers.
Depois tinha na me quando não barak li tam.
And then he looks forward to continuing in the future.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, Katja. Listen, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a real pleasure to speak with you, and just for you to take the time to talk with Simao, it really means a lot. Well, to him and to us as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for making it happen. I mean, it's been a pleasure, and it's just great to learn and to see how things are done at different origins, and to see that there are parallels as well, that the farmers are dealing with a lot of the same issues in different variations, and also with the same hopes for the future and the same plans, the similar skills they develop over time, and reaching back into the past to see how things have been done, and then trying to come up with new techniques and plans for a changing future, right? Which is crucial if you want.
I think as a caveat to that, because we only work with one origin, because we just work with Timor-Leste, we don't know what's going on at other origins. So to hear you talk about Brazil, and it's like, well, okay, we've got a lot to learn as well from people like yourself, and we can share information with our guys here about other practices that at other origins. So about working together, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just before you go, Mana, mambe, habeli kolieho itelalais, itabanebe. I just want to introduce you to. I just think it's important that I introduce you to Simao's wife, Katja, because Simao works incredibly hard, and so does his wife. When it comes to the coffee, she's equally important. And I think one of the things that doesn't get spoken about enough in Timor is the female role in what they contribute to the coffee. So, Mana.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So nice to see you. Hi.
I think the connection's gone.
Yeah, I think you're back now. Yeah.
How are you?
Lovely to meet you. I'm
Yeah.
Katja.
Yeah. Mana servicio en
Oh,
Tania tete contente hasil malu dan yang
contente hasil Inglaterra.
She said it's very nice to meet you as well. Yeah, and I think
what is
yeah,
her role
something
in the coffee then? What does she do?
Mana ito ajuda ho café ou inside ajuda ho café. Tabaka federal no ku.
Oh, baka plara no ku cafe lori mai uma hori tit.
So she goes into the coffee and she picks the coffee. She comes back to the home and she weighs the coffee. Mana ita ia serviço select nomos, hein? Bela explica itu onde que não vai ter serviço. Iha PNT.
Serviço iha pentel, patroli, atende problema, nomos halo relatori.
So in addition to working in coffee, 6 days a week, she works as a police officer. She's on patrol in the local village, working on relationships in the community. In addition to, in addition to taking care of 6 children.
Wow. So
so
she's like women everywhere. She does everything. 3 full-time jobs.
Itu serviço tolo, huh? Serviço badinas. See, yeah, and again, that's something that that's a whole other side to life here in Timor that we'll be happy to talk about when we come and see you in the UK.
Yeah, wait. Thank you for introducing us to her. What's her name?
Mana? Tini
Eva Suarez Xavier.
Eva Suarez Xavier. Eva Suarez Xavier. So Mana Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's quite a remarkable woman, has to be said. She's a very remarkable woman. Okay, Katja, once again, thank you so much for your time.
See you soon. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you in person when you're back in the UK. Take care and greetings to all of your other farmers in your group.
Thank you very much. Say goodbye.
Thank you, Kar Yee. Thank you, Simao. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.